Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the spiritual home of the Unitarian Universalists of Chattanooga. My name is Charlotte Olson, and I'm a member of this congregation. Whether you're with us here in person this morning or joining us virtually via Facebook, we are glad you're here. Our called minister, Reverend Mandy Goheen, is not here this morning, but she will be back here next Sunday, March 5th. She's also available to meet with you and talk with you during the coming week. If you'd like to, you can just contact the office. This morning, we are so grateful to have Reverend Sarah Dendy Green with us. In her own words, Sarah is a Southern cisqueer black femme minister based in New Orleans, Louisiana. I can't wait to hear what she has to share with us today. So welcome, Sarah. And now we'll move on to opening words.
Okay. It's great to be with you all. I'll say that a couple times, but it's really great. The welcome that I've already received, top notch. Our opening words this morning are from Kevin Goodman. We give our lungs to the fire, their frothy, pink, and trembling capacities, the hinge work of our knees. Also, what's good of our backs we give, discs in the spine, flattened, springing to the nerves, shoulders tendon bright, straining the sockets. We give bruise, we give gash, whatever bleeds, bleeds. Shine bones devoted from tool blows, armpits raw from sweat rind, Nomex grating under the line gear straps. Heels, blister gelled, popping, back of neck, seared, blistered. Give ankles, hobbled, ligaments, tattered, sutured. Skin we give to ember, to aramids, to the long memory cancer has. Ears given to squelch, break, rotor wash. A far voice calling weakly for water, for God, who is water. Out there in the brittle woods, give lips heat crazed, blubbering double time, water boiling from eyes, lashes, rancid nubs, a beard, mustache smoldering, tobacco spit, tobacco slobber, fingers in gloves and ash swollen, putty to the bone, lactic surge in arms and calves as we pause, swiping back the grime-slicked hair, then bending to our ash-dark art once more. I am now going to invite Bart and Diana to come light the chalice with us, and our words are on the screen. We extinguish this, oh, that's not the one. We're not that's silly. Okay. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Great.
It is now time for the social justice moment. And here's Judy.
So this will be our last reading for Black History Month. Next month it will be Women's History Month, I believe. So here it goes. The last one I hope you will really like. It was written by Gil Scott Heron, and it's a piece about the first moon landing. The poet expresses his unhappiness at having his taxes dedicated to bringing Whitey to the moon, while he and all Black Americans are held captive in poverty due to racist government policies. So here it goes. We have this poem here. It's called Whitey on the Moon. It was inspired by some whiteys on the moon. So I want to give credit where credit is due. A rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms begin to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bills, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still, while Whitey's on the moon. The man just upped my rent last night, 'cause Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets, no lights, but Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me. 'Cause Whitey's on the moon? Well, I was already giving him $50 a week with Whitey on the moon. Taxes taking my whole damn check. Junkies making me a nervous wreck. The price of food is going up. And as if all that shit wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arm begin to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. While all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon? How come I ain't got no money here? Y'all, I was just about to have my fill of Whitey on the moon. I think I'll send these doctor bills, airmail special, to Whitey on the moon.
Song. Well, I'm actually going to ask you to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to play the song and give you a chance to greet each other. And if we could go over some protocols about greeting each other in these strange times. We went over some greeting styles. Whatever you might do, you might bump fists, elbows, you might actually hug each other, you might just say hello, you might wink from across the aisle, but take a few moments to greet each other. I'm going to play our opening song in the background, and Christian will indicate to you when greeting time is over. It will be before 11:30, I promise you that, and then we'll sing our opening song a couple of times together, okay? Here we go. Stand up and greet each other.
Worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Everybody.
Again.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. And now sing it as you mean it. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
All right, it's time for our time for all ages. If you are brave and confident and under 99 and a half years old, that probably maybe is a compliment to some of you, but okay. All right, thanks Autumn for coming down. Anybody else? Okay, incredible. Can I sit here with you? Okay, fantastic. Oh, the gaggle. I sure did, and I meant it. Well, good morning. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet all of you. I love singing. I love singing in church. I love singing at protests. I love, any time I can sing, that's what I want to do. So when it came time for all ages, I want to sing. So this song I learned way up in northern Minnesota. Who knows where northern Minnesota is?
I have no idea what Minnesota is.
Yes, some people do. It's a state very high up there in our country. And it's almost by Canada. You know where Canada is? Up there, way up there. Anybody got an estimate on driving time from Chattanooga? 13 hours. Huh, 10? That's actually not as long as I thought it would be. But it's way up there. And all the way up there, they are building pipelines to transport oil. Now, we use oil for a lot of things, but when you build pipelines, they inevitably leak. And it does all kind of wonky things for our water, and it's not ideal. So some people, some Unitarian Universalists, went up there June of 2021, right, because Emil, my baby, was like 3 months old. Woo! And I took them all the way to northern Minnesota. And we held witness, and we said, this does not align with our values because we care about the planet, we care about the water and the soil and all the animals. And I learned this song there with hundreds of other people. And it's been so fun to teach the song to people like you. It's very simple. Are you ready to learn a song? Okay, we'll do the words first. The words are, and I'll do, we'll do a repeat after me sort of thing, just the words. Okay, so the first line is, the ground is shaking. Can you say that? The ground is shaking. 'Cause all the nations have come to say. This land is sacred. And we protect the water. And we honor the land. Yes. That's the words. We're going to do that one more time with the melody. Okay? Now, sometimes we sing way up here. And we're like, ah. I lost my voice a couple days ago. That's not what we're doing today. We're going to sing from our bellies. It's going to be a little low. It's going to be a little like the ground is shaking from our bellies. Okay? Okay. So it goes like this. The ground is shaking. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say, this land is sacred. And we protect the water. That's a little tricky. So the whole thing goes, and we protect the water. Your turn. And we protect the water. And we honor the land. Your turn. And we honor the land. Okay. I love the participation from all ages. Makes me feel like We're all invested in honoring the land. Maybe we could get like a bass beat, like mm, 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 mm. Okay, here we go. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water and we honor the land. One more time, like this. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water and we honor the land. Okay, that's incredible. Y'all did such a good job. I want to up the stakes a little bit. Can we do this in a round? I sense the enthusiasm and the challenge and the risk. Okay. Good, that's perfect. So we are gonna take the people who are on the floor, and this section, we're gonna do the first round. Yeah, you're in there. And then these folks are gonna hold down the second section. Okay. Thumbs, we're feeling good about? Yeah, love that. All right, so we'll start after the first, the ground is shaking because all the nations. Yes, I'll cue you in. Okay, let's get the bass again. Mm. 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 Ready? The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations, the ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say the land is sacred and we protect the water. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water and we honor the land. One more time this. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water and we honor the land and we honor the land. Give yourselves a round of applause. I feel that in my belly. Thank you all so much for being such good sports. We're gonna sing the kids out. Thanks, y'all. Oh, I'm going to invite everybody to finish arriving. What a week it has been. I invite you to find a comfortable spot with perhaps your feet touching the ground, perhaps your hands on your heart, on your legs, on your forehead, whatever spot needs some love this morning. Needs some of that vibration that we just witnessed in our song. I invite you to welcome all the parts of you here, from all the disparate places we've been this week, from all of the hard conversations that happened when we lived in our values, when we loved our loved ones. Finish arriving here, this place where we come to get filled up, to get loved on, to come sit in mystery for a while. I invite you to take a few breaths. A few deep breaths if that feels helpful. I'm going to invite Caden up here. Oh, hey. To help us light candles of joy and concern. Yes, Caden, I did notice that it was out.
I don't think they pulled it.
Yeah, sometimes the wind, it's tricky. Oh, Lord. And then there's this trickiness. I'll do that. Sometimes the light goes out. You just gotta. Yeah. All right. So if you've got a joy or concern on your heart that you'd like to share in community, we invite you to light a candle and share what you would like to be held in community. No, you're good. Thanks, Caden. Caden just let two more for the joys and concerns that are that remain close to our heart. I heard that you don't normally close us out with a prayer, but I kind of like it. So will you join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer or whatever word is meaningful to you? Spirit of life and love, we come to you first and foremost in gratitude for having this community, this warm, loving, embracing community to do life with. Spirit of loss and joy and grief and celebration, remind us that we do not encounter these moments of life alone, that we are here almost explicitly to do life and encounter those moments, to grieve, to laugh, to cry, jump up and down together. And that is where we encounter you. Spirit of all of the parts and pieces and bits of life, fill us with memories of times that we have done those things together to ease our journey in the week ahead, and to remind us to reach out. And even our most mundane celebrations or the things we get upset about that are just really particular to us that we don't think anybody else will understand. Spirit, encourage us to connect over and over again. May it be so.
begin with me. Let there be peace on earth. Unending peace on earth. On earth, let there be peace. Let there be peace.
Thanks. I've got a reading this morning. It's by Chris Sullivan. It's titled Work and Prayer in the Style of Saint Benedict. And I hope this is useful. I love a fresh start. Unfortunately, the sense of newness passes all too quickly. The shine fades, and I'm back to facing the same old me, caught up in the same old challenges. I want to be more prayerful and peace-filled and patient, but my life is filled with responsibilities and people and expectations. How do we, in our fast-paced world, manage to respond to our duties and to the call of the Spirit? We may find help toward an answer in an unexpected source, a 6th century document known as the Rule of Saint Benedict. He's the founder of Western monasticism. Benedict sought to live a life apart from the distractions of the world, but even in his solitude, others sought him out for guidance. Benedict's time of reflection, complete with interruptions, bore fruit in his rule, which remains a guideline for all who struggle between the tension between living for God or Spirit and working in the world. In the rule, which was written for laymen, not clerics, prayer was referred to as the work of God. Prayer then is work, and work is prayer in the economy of monastic life. Instead of wondering how to squeeze prayer into the busy cycle of our work days, we can adopt a new orientation in which all that we do is prayer. We consecrate to God the whole cycle of the day, from rising and drinking our morning coffee to carpools and classes and household responsibilities until we crawl into bed for sleep. As the liturgical season orders some folks' years, the Benedictine hours can order our days. Living the monastic rhythms in the world can be as simple as becoming aware of the characteristics, themes of each hour. It's not necessary to do all the things and recite all the prayers, but even as we go about our other business, we can bring our awareness to the spirit of the hour. As the themes for each day emerge, they also reflect the journey of a lifetime. Our primary way of prayer is our very being, created in God. All of our work is sacred work. Time set aside for prayer can be a great blessing, but we can turn all of our daily tasks into prayer when we bring to them the awareness of our relationships with our ever-present God or Spirit. Okay, that was very Catholic. But we will make sense of it in a moment here. But first, I'm Sarah. Again, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. The music, the intimacy of our time together is just meaningful to me. But I feel like I should say a little bit more about me, because I just kind of popped up. I am from New Orleans, My mom and my dad are from New Orleans. Their parents are from New Orleans. Their parents are from a little bit more rural parts of Louisiana, and it goes back for quite some time. Part of my experience of New Orleans was Katrina, yada, yada. I learned that I could live anywhere in the world, which was like such an amazing blessing. And that took me to Vermont and then to Nashville and eventually Divinity School. So I am quite fond of Tennessee. It's held a lot of my milestones as a human. I think I met Reverend Mandy. You know, ministers in the South we're pretty close, so I can't really pinpoint, but I appreciate Reverend Mandy's ministry and the fact that we are a similar type of parent together, and the invitation to come here and be with you all this morning. I work at the UUA. That's the other thing I probably should say. In the youth and young adult portion of the office. So if we have any questions during our time after about young people, happy to talk about that as well. But today I want to talk about land, because I'm kind of a moonlight farmer, gardener thing. I felt like we were working so remotely, and all the screens. I needed my fingers in soil. And that started before the pandemic, but really have sort of sunk my toes into the soil these days, and extends to my organizing work and such. So let me ask you a question. Who knows the difference between daylilies and mullein? Okay, what do you think what's the difference? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. What about yellow flag iris and dandelions? You know, yellow flag iris they're the yellow, they're the yellow irises. Anybody know the difference between the two of them?
The yellow flag iris is a terrible invasive species that is problems. Dandelion is edible.
I did not plant that. And the same goes for English ivy and daffodils. Okay, somebody's fired up. So daylilies, those yellow flag irises, the English irises, they are invasive species. Whereas the mullein, the dandelions, and the daffodils are naturalized, which means they didn't come from the United States, but when they got here, they behaved in such a way that they contributed to the land. They are useful and fruitful and kind of like have some boundaries and respect. They play well with others. So today I want to talk about how we are on this land. Are we the invasive species? Are we the naturalized people who help the soil flourish? Probably like many of you, while I was born in the United States and have history long time ago, and my parents, but our history on this land is fairly limited. It doesn't go back thousands of years. And so I think in so many ways, although we have been here for so long, we are still visitors. But let's talk about why that matters. So about 2 weeks ago at this point, I came back from Cambodia. Wow. First of all, Cambodia is so far. It took me 24 hours in the air. That's not even including layovers. Yeah. And I don't know much about Cambodia because I went to school in the United States, and we don't do a great job at that. But I learned so much. I learned that Cambodia's main economy is a tourist industry. I learned about the Pol Pot regime. We visited the Landmine Museum. Wow. Y'all, I'm young. Y'all, that's not a secret. And so this history was heavy to me in a way that if I had been alive, even closer to that time period, I think it would have struck differently. But for a millennial, it was heavy. And it really made me think about how I moved in that country with, the history of colonialism and just being the weight of being an American visitor. My brain, it was kind of like, you ever been around a language you don't speak? There was a lot of English in Cambodia, but I've been in other places where they're only speaking Spanish, and my brain, like, literally hurts. And that's kind of how it felt like, piecing all of these things together, because the hospitality in Cambodia, similar to what I've experienced this morning, unmatched. So also in Cambodia, it's 85 degrees almost year around. That's hot. And it's humid. So while my New Orleans bred, born self was kind of used to it, it was piping. But every time we went back to our hotel, they had a cold, wet towel for our face. It was heaven. I kind of would like to see UU churches all over in the summer. I just think that would be, I just try to plant the seed there. But I learned that it's a Buddhist country, and so I was trying to think, how does that all play into the hospitality that we're experiencing? And then there were these cellars outside of Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat's the big temple complex, very fascinating. And it's a UNESCO site, so there's tons of tourists. And when you are leaving and coming in, there are these, mostly women, selling T-shirts or scarves or jewelry or whatever, and they are unrelenting, but so kind. And don't you want to buy this? And the thing about it is that you can't buy from everybody. You would have literally no money left. And it's heartbreaking because you know that it's a third world country, whatever that means. And so this is not child's play. They're feeding families with this money. There's a lot on the line. You feel so, I felt frozen. I felt like this matters, that I support the Cambodian people and can't do that for literally every person that comes up. And that's when it occurred to me that these systems of colonization and tourism and visitors on the land and a war, they contort all of us. There was no winning. I told the person that took us, I was like, oh, so there's no winning here. There's no response. I can't be kind enough. We're all just sort of and they're as an American, I saw the landmines that we sent over. It was a real contortion here. And I needed to figure out how to be on that land. Yeah. So when we talk about being on land that's not ours, it tends to go towards the negotiations about broken treaties and land back. And honestly, those are all, yes, land back all the time, everywhere. And it didn't quite scratch the itch about how to sort of relax my muscle or move strategically about being in a place that's not mine. It's kind of it's a low bar, really. So my new question is this: how do I labor on this land in which I was born but don't all the way belong? The first word that came to my mind, which may be the first word that came to your mind, is decolonization. We hear decolonize this, decolonize that. And, it sounds like kind of a hip tagline sometimes. rather than being a serious commitment. So I needed to really anchor into a strong definition of what that word meant. And here's what I found from this Canadian open source textbook website. Very cool. They talk about decolonization as referring to a process of deconstructing colonial ideologies of superiority and privilege of Western thought and approaches. So it's exclusively addressing dismantling power and systems of oppression and its corresponding pedagogies, how we replicate those things to people. And like Land Back, this is such holy work. We need to interrogate power and how it lives within us and recreates in our relationships. I think it's helpful to think about decolonizing as I think about the way that white supremacy encourages us to view property as hoarding and as an excuse for violence. I think it helps us to be less manipulative humans in general. I think it helps us to imagine equality in our relationships. Critical. Decolonization is pressing work. The cultural work of decolonizing notions of gender is y'all live in Tennessee, way past due. In some ways, decolonization is just simply an imperative groundwork for a much larger ecology of healing. In New Orleans, we're basically on swamp, and you can see how anything you try to build in New Orleans, our roads, it's abysmal. They sink. It's unsteady. It's not, the things that lay on top of the swamp that we've imposed land over is not the kind of work that we want to be building. We want to have a great, solid foundation, at least a foundation that's responsive to the land. So decolonization is incredible, and we have to keep going. So let's hop on over to the garden again, or from Brent and Becky's blog. For a lesson in naturalizing, they teach us that nature thrives on diversity and balance. A variety of plant species supports an even larger array of wildlife by providing the food and shelter sources needed for survival. Naturalized plants, by definition, support biodiversity by providing pollinators with pollen and adapting to the surrounding environment. By behaving like native plants, these plants can thrive within the landscape, get this, with little maintenance, and eventually replenish the soil as they complete their life cycles. I don't know about you, but I read that and I was like, that's the kind of human I want to be on this land that does not belong to me. I want to build the soil. Y'all, when you have rich soil, you can do so much. You can grow almost anything, climate permitting. But it is really the first thing if you want to grow a garden or a healthy ecosystem. The soil, to have a rich humus is priceless. So many people might hear the word naturalization and think of like becoming a US citizen. My mother-in-law was born in Germany, and I am not an expert on that process, but from what I can gather, it's a lot of work. Like, it is labor. The study and application of what it means to be a US citizen or what it means to be a naturalized human on indigenous land does not come quick, which means I can't finish it in this lifetime. When we pursue naturalization, it's a process of becoming or of integration. For some, it may feel like when we became a parent or a spouse. I don't know about you, but when I became a parent, I inherited 2 older kids. They were 11 and turning 15. So like, honestly, full humans. like speaking, talking, having thoughts, like all sorts of things. And I needed, well, let me say, what wasn't going to work is if I came in and was like, you need to get on my program. That was, with a 15-year-old, poof, good luck. And, to be honest, I did have moments where I tried that. And usually it did not work. I needed to study and be curious about them. We needed to find different ways, try on different ways to be in each other's ecology. I couldn't give up who I was. And they couldn't give up who, we needed to figure out how to integrate our lives together. And it's not done. They are 15 and 19 now, and it feels like we're just getting started. It builds on the work of decolonization because the goal, it wasn't for them to like get in line and contort. That was not the goal. It was a way for us to create and live inside something new, wherein I could contribute to healthy soil through a diversity of experiences and sensations and stories. So let me ask you this. What happens to your imagination when you think about integration? When you think about integrating what this land knows and what you know? Is your media different? Are your consumer choices different? Is your faith different? It's not so much that we become different people. Daffodils are still daffodils. It's that we orient who we are towards a different project, building the soil, contributing, taking up less resources. We orient them to cooperation, to equity, to collectivism, and we labor towards being valued and valuable in a different ecosystem than the one we've known. Like, it's not gonna look like this in so many ways, and in some ways, I think it's really fair. We have to figure out where we fit in this thing that is coming, inevitably, this beloved community. Where do we fit? And when we have tried, sometimes we become invasive species. Ain't that something? Like, dang, we tried so hard to find belonging that we just lost a little bit of our control. So what's the medicine for that? I think to course correct, we labor with others. A lot happens when we try to do things by our own. That's when things get a little out of hand. We pause to reflect, like, oh, did that thing work? And we become intimate with the soil. I think us as UUs, we have the first two down. We like committees. We do like to reflect and have a process observer. Those are great. But it's the intimacy piece that I think it's a little bit trickier for like us logical, sciencey people, because when we become intimate with something, we acknowledge that we don't know everything. Ugh. That there's mystery. Ugh. God, how do you plan with a mystery? So in Cambodia, we left our hotel at like 4:30 one morning to see the sunrise over Angkor Wat, which is like iconic image, temples, sun. It's gorgeous, but 4:30 in the morning was early. We're jet lag. It's a lot. It's already 85 degrees, so we're really kind of struggling to get there, but we make it there. We got a great spot, and we just kind of sit and we wait, and we're like, it feels like a little bit like Easter, kind of how it felt. So the sun is coming up, and it's coming up, oh, this pink glow, it's almost indescribable, except there are pictures, but being there is a little different. And it gets to about, like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way up. And it's a glow, like a glow. And so we're like, oh, is this what we're gonna get? Like, it's beautiful, but we kind of want to see the sun, but like Maybe there's fog or air pollution, or maybe it's cloudy. This is all we're going to get. Oh, y'all. So then we leave. We go to the bathroom, and we're like, okay, well, take what we can get. So we're going to the bathroom. I didn't have to go to the bathroom, so I stayed outside. But I'm facing away. And then this other minister there was like, look! And wouldn't you know, it's the sun up. We had this whole moment of like, oh my gosh, if we would have just of course the sun was coming. The sun always comes. If we would have just relaxed, we would have known. If we would have just studied the mystery a little bit more, we would have seen. If I were interested in naturalizing in Cambodia, a land that I'm not from, I would study that sunset with intention. Not with Western science, but with theology. Not with the metric system, but with art and prayer. This is an invitation, friends, for us to learn to live and labor where we call home. It's an invitation to acknowledge that we don't know much about what makes this place itself. We don't. We have a short time span about these mountains and rivers. But beyond this invitation is a community that knows the spirit of the Tennessee River, the magic of the mountains, and the logic of everything in between. I can't tell you that once you start on this endeavor that it will come easy, or that I am fully decolonized or naturalized myself. But in the mystery of it all, I see a little healing, a little ways down the path. I taste joy when the sun comes up and we wait just a little longer. I hear enoughness, just a little bit down the path. I feel belonging a little ways down the path. And friends, I would be so overjoyed to journey down that path with you. So I kind of want to stretch us into some mystery, revisiting our song from earlier. I want to do 3 rounds. I know, it's going to get a little cacophonous and mysterious. But it'll be just one way that we practice how we experience mystery in our bodies, how we let Spirit rush over us. I figured y'all are up for it. Y'all have been a very cooperative congregation. So I will sing it once. Oh, has the microphone been off this whole time? It might have. Okay, sing it once to refresh everybody's mind, and then I'll kick us off. All right. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water and we honor the land. All right, here we go. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations, the ground is shaking 'cause all the nations, the ground is shaking 'cause all the nations, and we honor the land. And we protect the land. One more time, this section. The ground is shaking 'cause all the nations have come to say this land is sacred and we protect the water water, the land. May it be so.
Thank you, Sarah. She planted many, many seeds. Okay, so we will now gratefully accept your financial contributions. I believe we have someone to pass the plate, some board members perhaps. You can also pay online. The information is in the order of service for online options. If you are visiting with us for the first time, or maybe even not the first time, but you're still new here and still getting to know us, feel free to let the plates pass you by. Your presence with us here this morning is gift enough.
Um, I got to pay a little bit more attention. Please stand as we sing our closing song, which is, yes, thank you.
Hey, sorry. You know, I was raised in an Episcopal church, and at this moment, I always want to sing the doxology, and they come forward with these big gold plates. And did a cross with the money? I don't know. That's a weird one. I need to work through that. Let's say our offertory response. We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work, we dedicate our offerings.
Can we sing now? Okay, good. Now we can stand and sing our closing song. The words will be up on the screen, or you can use your hymnal. It's number 299. Make channels for the streams of love where they may broadly run. The love has overflowing streams to fill them every one. But if at any time we cease such channels to provide, the very founts of love for us will soon be parched and dry. For we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love.
So what? I do love this, that this is a part of the service. So what? The reading that I gave at the beginning was about this orientation that is summarized in this Latin phrase, Laura e labora. Oh, okay. Am I doing? Okay, great. Which is to pray and work. And I think today we talked about decolonization being the orientation to interrogate our relationships of power, of oppression so that we kind of come correct. And then there's work to be done about listening, about living in the mystery, about putting our hands and feet and heart and ears and mouth fully into this work of getting to know this land so that we have a place in the beloved community that matters, that we're valuable, and that we are growing the soil. So, yeah, prayer and work, working and prayer and work. It's the same thing, and we are called as Unitarian Universalists to come back to that task over and over again. I have some closing words by Gregory Orr. This is what was bequeathed us. This earth, the beloved, left and leaving, left to us. No other world but this one, willows and the rivers and the factory with its black smokestacks. No other shore, only this bank on which the living gather. No meaning but what we find here, no purpose but what we make. That and the beloved's clear instructions. Turn me into song, sing me awake. Want me to read this? Okay, great. We've got great timing. Weed wrangle. Those pesky, invasive little things. Although not all weeds are bad, but I get the, yes. Weed wrangle is a one-day, area-wide volunteer effort to help rescue our public parks and green spaces, wow, from non-native invasive species through hands-on removal of especially harmful trees, vines, and flowering plants. And it's on March 4th, and we've got the locations. Y'all, this is an incredible opportunity to really get some embodied worship and learning together. So I would highly recommend it. Our other, yes. Oh, yes. Bart and Diane, will you come extinguish this chalice with us? And the words for the rest of us will be on screen. Yeah, I got so caught up in the non-native invasives. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Announcements.
Hello, there we go. Hello, I'm Judy Gallagher, Secretary of your board, and so I'm going to have a few announcements. I know we're running a little late. If you've got to go, you got to go. A couple announcements, and then if somebody else has something that's not already on here, you can come on up. RE teacher training with Camille and Wendy is after the service today, so this is for current volunteer teachers and any of you who might be interested in learning more about religious education for our young folks. On Monday, we'll, of course, have the weekly protests at Miller Park. You can see Judith or Dave if you want more information on that. Wednesday at 10 is our coffee hour. Selena would know more about that. UU Diners this week will be at the Acropolis, Hamilton Place on Thursday, March 2nd at 6. See Lino Ruth Standridge or Nikki Osbeck if you would like to attend and join us. Next Sunday, March 5th, is New Member Sunday. So let the office know soon if you would like to join as an official member. On March 5th, plan to arrive at church at 10 so we can take new member photos and prepare before the service begins. A light breakfast and coffee will be provided to those of you who are going to be joining us officially next week. Also next week, there's a lot happening on March 5th. You don't want to miss it. The bylaws revision congregational vote will be quickly done after the service at 12:15. Voting will be done both in person and online, so please plan to attend. A lot of good work has gone into revising these bylaws. We've had several little meetings over them. People have given input. They've been revised again, so please come and vote. Then, following that, the Social Justice Committee will meet at 12:30. All are welcome to join us. We've got a lot of good things planned. And you probably have noticed our new banners. Thanks to Judith and Dave for getting those up for us. They're beautiful. And let's see, I did that. I think I got all those. And the choir, who I'm a great part of. Selena is doing a great job. We're looking for new members. We know there's a lot of good voices out there. I heard y'all singing this morning. So our rehearsals are at 9 right before the service. You only have to come out once. You don't have to come out again during the week. So join us and ask either some of us that are members or Selena if you want more details. Anybody else have an announcement that I did not make? Charlotte.
I just want to thank Sarah for coming here. Can you hang out for a few minutes afterwards if anybody wants to chat? Yeah, so we're so grateful to have you with us this morning.
Anybody else? Seeing no other hands, thank you. Enjoy coffee and some conversation and enjoy your day.